gosh, this thing is just go away. Sorry, this thing is right in my way. There we go. Present. 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 Oh my gosh. Keeps putting things right my way. Okay, so here we go. Share. I'm gonna do this. If you need me as I'm teaching, feel free to interrupt me. So just yell like, "Hey, you're going too fast. I need to write that down." You can always throw it in the chat as well. I have like 2 screens up, so I'm trying to look at both places at once. But always feel free to let me know if you need my help. So once again, this shouldn't be too long. It should be pretty quick. And then we'll have a little bit of time to kind of wrap up and do a few other things. Woo! So last week, I don't even know the date is Thursday, Friday, I guess. We were talking about slope and we were talking about point slope form. So let's see if you can remember it. So just as a warm up, get our brains back in the game here. All right, let me make sure I always like end up writing weird on this or writing at a tilt here. Okay. So as a little warm up here. Can you write an equation in point slope form? Sorry, it takes me a second to write it. I miss writing on my board, guys. I'll write everything down on paper now. Given this information, I'm going to give you that the point passes through, the line passes through the points. 2, -6, 3, 4. So can you just take a second and see if you remember what we did last week? Because what we're doing today is going to directly relate to that. So this will kind of lead into what we're doing next. So can you try that? I'll give you a minute or two. Losing my mind here. One more minute. So just as a reminder, some hints, because I haven't seen you in a few. The first thing you would want to do is find slope using the slope formula. And then the second thing you would do is write an equation in point slope form. You can pick either point. So just use your slope in either point, and that will give you your equation. But you do need to know the slope form. Sorry, as I choked to death. You do need to know the slope formula, and you need to know what point slope form is. So just as a heads up there. You can believe this. I'm actually gonna like expect you to know those things. Like even if after vacation, I expect you to know them. All right, so let's go over it. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope. So just as a reminder, my slope, I use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's plug in. Once again, you can label these x1, y1, x2, y2, whatever works for you and whatever way your brain organizes it, go with that. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1. If you just want to write a double negative as a positive, go for it. Just remind yourself that. Over x2 minus x1. Once again, we are going to add the top, keep, change. That's going to give me 10 over 1 for a slope of a 10. Beautiful. And now pick a point. I usually, out of habit, just pick the first one. It really doesn't matter. I'll write it both ways. And whichever one you have works for me. You do need to know point slope form though. So it's y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And you could have had 2 versions. With the first point, it would have been y plus 6 equals 10 parentheses x minus 2. Or you could have written it with the second point, y minus 4 equals 10 parentheses x minus 3. Oops, sorry, my face is in the way of that one. And that would be your final answer. So either of those, you don't need to write both of them. I'm just writing both in case you wrote one or the other. So it's just preference. I usually just out of habit pick the first one, but it doesn't matter. So just as a heads up. So what we're doing today, and it's pretty quick, you're semi-familiar with it already. I feel like when we talk about lines, everyone just goes into the good old y equals mx plus b. Like that's the one thing people remember. And that's great. It's called points. Oh my God, I can't even talk today. Slope intercept form. Um, and woo, I mean, I feel like that's the one thing people are like into. Um, I personally like point slope form a little better. I think it's a little easier to plug into, but we want to be able to go from point slope to slope intercept. I could talk today. So I'm going to show you how to do it. It's super quick. That's the nice thing. That's why I like point slope. It's easy to kind of rearrange to other forms. And then I'm going to kind of show you another problem and then you can decide. I'll show you a few options how to do it. You can decide which way you like better. So some things you just like because you know how to do it that way. I personally like doing things in point slope first because I just think it's easy. So what I want to do is if I gave you this equation and that equation was like, they're the same, you'd be like, no, they're not. They're not the same at all. They don't look the same. I mean, they have the same slope, but they're not the same. And I want to prove that they're the same. So what I'm going to do to both of these, sorry, I'm just going to go like this, is I'm going to convert these to slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And I'm not going to go back and do anything fancy. I'm literally just going to like rearrange them, so move things around. To do that, I want to get rid of these parentheses, so I'm going to distribute in, and then I just want to isolate this y. So what I'm going to do first, so right here, I'm going to convert to slope intercept. Which is y equals mx plus b. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm always going to distribute first. I don't want those parentheses there. So for this one, I would get y plus 6 equals 10x minus 20. Okay. Sorry, I was just doing something in my head. That took a lot of effort. Here, I'm going to do the same step. So I'm just going to kind of keep with the same step. I'm going to distribute in y minus 4 equals 10x minus 30. Okay, so as of right now, that doesn't really do anything. I'm not that excited. I just got rid of the parentheses. The main thing for slope intercept is you want y equals, so you do want that y to be isolated. So what I would do for both of these is move the constant next to the y. So in this one, if I have y plus 6, I'm going to subtract 6. I'm going to combine it with a like term over here. So the other constant, the other just regular number. And I would get y equals 10x minus 26. Okay, so I have a new equation, whoop-de-doo. But let's try it with this one and see what happens. I have y minus 4, but I just want y isolated. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And once again, I'm kind of lining it up with a like term over here. And I would get y equals 10x minus 26. Oh my gosh, guys, it's a miracle. They are the same equation. We just proved it. Yay, happy face. Okay, so if I ever give you two equations and I say, oh, prove to me that these are the same, you need a way to do it. So you can rearrange it to another form. So what I did is I took two equations in point slope form, and when I put them in slope intercept form, I saw that they actually were the same. Magical. So just as a heads up, that's what we're going to be doing today. Just basically going from point slope to slope intercept. It's not a bad process, right? You just do a little distributing, a little moving around, and you're done. I'm going to remind you of how you probably did it last year. I don't know if you guys did point slope that much last year. Some people may have plugged in like X, Y, and M, and then solve for B. So I'll show you that way too, if you're comfortable with that. But when I say write something in slope intercept, I usually write it in point slope and then just rearrange it. I'm going to show you both ways that you decide. Whatever way makes you happier, you do that way. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, okay. I'm going to give you a point and a slope. So I'm going to say we're going to use the 0.57 and the slope is 2. Okay, so that's not bad. But this time I'm going to say write an equation in slope intercept form. Sorry, I'm trying to write everything down here as I go. I don't even know what that says. Okay, and slope intercept form. I'm going to get you notes today. All right, so I remind myself one because we're going to have a lot of forms as we go. That slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So there's two things you can do. You can decide which way you like it. The first thing is if I have a point in the slope, I can just plug it into point slope and then rearrange it. I'm going to show you what you probably did last year, and then I'll see which way you like because I don't really care. But I will show you both ways. So what I'm going to do, if you remember back from your previous life here, some of you probably did it this way. You said y equals mx plus b. You said this is x. You said this is y. You said this is m. And then you plug those into their variables, right? So y is 7. M is 2. X is 5. I don't know b. So then you could do 7 equals 10 plus b. Oh my God, my nose will not stop scratching. And then you have to get b by itself. -3 equals b. And then you actually have to write the equation. So the equation would be y equals, the m is 2, so 2x minus 3. So for the equation, you just plug back in m and b. So that's probably the way that a lot of you did it last year. You take y equals mx plus b and you plug in what you know. I'm going to be honest, I don't love that way. It's kind of annoying. You're plugging in a bunch of stuff, you got an answer, but then once you get the answer, you have to put it back in the equation, whatever. So here's usually what I do. You can pick which way you like better because you're going to get the same answer. So I don't necessarily care which way you do it. I just want to make sure you can actually get to the end point there. So it's just preference for you, but let me show you how I would probably do it because I just don't like that way. I would say, oh, point slope. Let's plug it into point slope. Y minus 7 equals m x minus 5, so 2x minus 5. That would be point slope form. And then I like to just rearrange it. Y minus 7 equals 2x minus 10. Move the 7. Y equals 2x minus 3. So you can see it was a lot less steps to get there. This one in the end, I had to solve for b and then I had to plug it back in. This one, it just like gives you the equation. It just like pops it out for you. You don't have to do anything fancy or plug stuff back in. So in the future, you can decide which way you would like to do it better. I don't really care. So if you get the answer y equals 2x minus 3, you're good. So I just wanted to remind you, I feel like some people are like, wait, I remember doing something, but I don't know when. So one thing you can do is plug into y equals mx plus b and see what you get. Or another thing you can do is just plug into point slope and rearrange it. So you decide which way you like better. So for now, you just write it down. Obviously, we're going to take a nice little week and a half vacay here. So if you don't remember everything, that's okay. Today, the last few days were kind of just intro. Because let's be honest, we don't know what after vacation is going to look like. So when we come back, we'll kind of regroup, go over this stuff again, and then kind of keep going. But it'll be more of a review lesson than doing the whole lesson over again. All right, so let's try another one. I'm going to say write in slope-intercept form. You can decide which method you would like to do. I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to do it with the point slope method and then kind of rearrange it. But if you like plugging into the form and solving from there, go for it. So it's just one of those things. Like you get the same answer, it's just how you like to do it. And after that, I think after this problem, I think we only have 2 problems left, so not too bad. So let's say I said write an equation. I'm getting lazy here with my directions. So I'm going to say, I'm just being lazy, slope-intercept form. Remember, when I say slope-intercept, you need to know that that's y equals mx plus b. Okay, so the information that we're given is this line goes through the points -3, 6, and then 2, 11. So at this point, you would say, well, no matter what form, I need to know the slope. So slope is always kind of the basis. We base a lot of things around that. So you go back to your slope formula and you say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Since I see a double negative, I'm just going to write it as +3. So just little things to remind yourself. And I'm going to simplify this. That gives me what, 5 over 5? So my slope is 1. Okay, so we found m, we need b. So you can do two things. You can plug into y equals mx plus b, pick a point in the slope, so it doesn't matter what point you pick, and solve for b. So you can do it that way. So that's the way you might have done it last year. So just as a heads up, I'm going to plug it into point slope. I always think it's just less steps, so I kind of like it that way. You can pick either point if you're I don't know, gearing towards one, go for that one. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. We proved that before. I'm just going to use the first point. So if I plug this into point slope, I would get y minus 6 equals 1 parentheses x plus 3, because remember it's minus negative 3. So just little things to remember about last week. But I'm saying, oh, this is point slope. I want slope intercept. So I'm going to distribute in. And then my last thing is to isolate that y. So I'm just going to move that 6. And my final answer would be y equals 1x plus 9. And you'd be done. So if you did it the other way, where you plugged in mxy, solve for b, found it, rewrote the equation, you should get the same thing. So it doesn't really affect your actual answer. If I had chosen the other points, I would have gotten the same thing. So that's kind of a nice part of that. It's just preference. So I'm just leaving that up for a second in case anyone needs it. Talking too much today, I'm losing my voice. Finishing my tea for the day. Okie dokie, I'm gonna have you guys try one. I know you're excited. All right, I'm getting lazy on the directions. Same directions, write it in slope intercept form. You choose your method to get what you need. So if you're doing it one way compared to another, whatever works for you. Boop. So let's say, I'll give you an easy one. Let's say the slope is 1/2 and the line passes through the point -4, 7. So can you write an equation in slope intercept form using that information? And however you get it, it's fine. So you can do whatever method you choose. Your main goal is just, can you basically know M, can you find B? So I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes. Can you please try that? Feel free to always comment if you need anything, or you can always just interrupt me. I'm happy to help you. Oh, goodness gracious. Give you about 1 more minute. Oh, golly. All right, perfecto. So we're gonna go over this one. You're gonna try one more, and then we're just gonna have a little wrap up. So nothing too crazy. Our main goal, once again, this pre-vacation remote life, I don't know, is to hopefully just kind of have an intro to this, so then we can jump right back in after vacation. But once again, I think the plan is to come back hybrid, but we all know that who knows what's going to happen 2 weeks from now, right? So we'll see. Tomorrow is a half day. Woo. So you're only on till 10. Yeah, you're off at 10. So it's just like a regular Wednesday where we do our meets in the morning. So I will see you in the morning at, I don't even know what time, 8:32. We'll do our 20-minute meet. We're just gonna play a little game. And then it'll be vacation. Even though I was talking to my husband, I'm like actually not that excited for vacation because there's nothing to do. Like I was so bored this weekend. There's nowhere to go. It's cold. I guess it's better to I can just hang out, but that gets boring, man. Can't do that. Okay, so let's check this one. Sorry, I was trying to stall in case anyone was finishing. These shouldn't take too long. You can decide your method. I'm going to do the point slope rearrange method. You can do the plug into y equals mx plus b method. We'll check in the end to make sure we're the same. So if I'm doing point slope, that would be y minus 7 equals 1/2 parentheses. Remember, it would be x plus 4 because it would be minus negative 4. So just be careful there. So y minus 7 equals 1/2 x plus 2, right, when I distribute that in. And then we just do a quick little move over to isolate that y, and y would equal 1/2 x plus 9. So if you could just do a quick, I guess I like 9s for some reason, a quick check of that one, I'd appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions at the current moment? Sorry, I'm looking at the chat, looking at you, looking at the chat. Yeah. Okay. All right, we only have one more to do. So life hopefully shouldn't be too terrible. I need a new piece of paper. Killing paper these days. I miss my board. And I just hate sitting all day. Golly gee. All right. Hey guys, you got accelerated. And I know if there's one thing that you guys love more than anything, that's fractions. So can you please write an equation in slope-intercept form using the following information? The line is going to go through the points 1/4, comma 2/3, negative 1/2, comma, what are we feeling? 1/6. If you're saying, I'm not even going to try this, I'm specifically checking this one. So if you would like to be marked present for today, I highly suggest you try it. Hey, use your calculator, okay? So if you don't, you should know how to do fractions for reals. But the first thing you want to do is find the slope. To find the slope, you're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You're going to have to do a little common denominator action. Just see how far you can get. I'll give you a minute or two to start, and then I will check in on you. But you need to try something. I don't want to see nothing. Nothing means, no offense, you're not really being a useful member of our class. So try that one. If you're cursing me right now, that means I'm doing something right, all right? If you're saying things like, I don't know how to subtract fractions, or I don't know how to divide fractions, that makes me sad. So remember, think, use that brain of yours. So I'm going to do some reminding. I'm using my calculator because my calculator is my friend and it does the work for me. But just as a reminder, when you are subtracting fractions, so I'm just dealing with the numerator, I would have to find a common denominator. It would be 6. change your numerators, add them, go from there. But if I do 1/6 minus 2/3, I'm going to get negative 1/2. This is just for the top. Okay. And then the bottom, same thing, common denominator of 4, change your numerators, subtract them, go from there. And negative 1/2 minus 1/4 is going to be a negative 3/4. So you got to here and you might say, like, what the heck do I do? It's a fraction over a fraction. Like, what's going on? Remember, that just means the top divided by the bottom. That's just a division symbol, right? So when we divide two fractions, if I have negative 1/2 divided by negative 3/4, we know how to divide fractions. You multiply by the reciprocal. That would give me 4/6, which would reduce to 2/3. Holy moly, all that work for just a slope. So just as a heads up, I do expect you know things about fractions. So I know you guys get mad when you see them. That's one of those things that, especially if you stay the accelerator track, but no matter what you do in math, you're going to see them again. So you have to know how to add them, subtract them, multiply, and divide them. You can use a calculator. I never said you couldn't. Go for it. But if you don't know how to use your calculator, you're also going to be kind of up a creek. So these are things we need to learn. What did I just do? Oh, sorry. I'm just checking myself here. Yep. Okay. So I'm good. So from here, you would say, all right, I have the slope and I need to write an equation in slope intercept form. Once again, I'm going to do point slope and then rearrange. If you want to do it the other way, go for it. We'll just check our answer. I'm going to use the first point. Y minus y1, which is 2/3, equals m, which is 2/3, and then x minus x1, which is 1/4. If I had said point slope, you would have been like, sweet, because you'd be done, but you gotta fancy it up here. So that would be y minus 2/3 equals 2/3 x minus, that would give me what, 2/12, and 2/12 is 1/6. So I'm just kind of reducing as I'm going. Sorry, I'm always just checking myself because I'm always in my own little world here. Get y by itself. I'm going to add 2/3. That gives me y equals 2/3 x. Off to the side, negative 1/6 plus 2/3. Find a common denominator. It would be 6. This would stay the same. This you'd multiply by 2, right, to get to 6. And then when you add them, that would give me 3/6, which ends up being 1/2. Oh, what a beauty. Oh, what a beauty. I loved that one. That is something, like, I know you're being mean. No, like, I can look at my exam from last year and this was on it. So it's not something I'm trying to be mean to you about. It's just one of those things that the quicker you get comfortable with fractions, the easier your life is going to be. So if you're a person that every time you see a fraction problem, you have a heart attack, it's going to be a long math career here. So start to take deep breaths. Learn how to use your calculator. Hey, if you don't know how to use it, type in to Google, the thing that tells you everything in the world. Look up your calculator, type and write fractions, and it will show you how to do fractions. You guys it's always hard with you guys, well, like just in general with your life, because if you say you don't know how to do something, you always have a way to look it up. So do it. Do it. Okay. That'll be our last one. I'm going to be nice today. So we have about 15 minutes left. So in a minute, I will be checking that. So please do not put it away. So just as a heads up, I will be checking that you are participating in class and that you, I don't know, once again, are alive. That's our main goal, that you're alive. All right, so I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to stop presenting. Maybe my face is in the way. Stop presenting.